Location, location, location. So if you're going to open a new coffee shop, you need to have a good location. While this is true, if you have a budget and a small budget of like $50,000 to $100,000, that is probably very unlikely for you. That's because having a good location, just the deposit alone will probably eat like 20% of your budget already, if not more, which leaves you no room to kind of do any renovations or anything like that. So I'm actually planning a very low budget coffee shop right now, and I'm just going to walk you through some of my thoughts and my concerns and how I personally am going to do it, okay? Now, if you guys are new here, my name is Vincent. I used to own a coffee shop myself. It was called Brew. I did pour-overs only, and I was crazy because I charged $15 while it was cash positive. It was not worth my time to do it, so I've closed it down, and I'm now planning 2 new stores, one with a more normal budget and then one on a very tight budget. So I also do my own roasting, so there's also that. Now, the tight budget coffee shop is actually going to be about the $50,000 range. I may apply for a loan to get another $50,000, but I'm only planning to use $50,000 of my own money at the most to actually open a new store. Now, because the budget is so tight, we don't have a lot of money for renovations and we don't have a lot of money for the deposit or the equipment. Now, a friend of mine came to me and he was like, "Hey Vince, I've got this empty spot. We can kind of work on something together because I'm trying to rent it out." And I'm like, "Bro, that place is hard to rent out because it sucks. It's not in a great location. There's not a lot of traffic in there, and you're still charging me like $2,000 of rent or whatever it is." That's a substantial amount because I was paying $5,000 for 800 square feet by a SkyTrain spot, like 5-6 years ago. Yes, it's expensive, but I think if I were to spend $3,000 more on marketing, I would still not get the same foot traffic in this new location. So for me, the numbers do not add up on that side. Now, because we're on a tight budget, it's still workable. So you can't think of it as a normal coffee shop. Now, normally in a coffee shop, if you were to do, I think a coffee shop's hard to open because I don't think the general person will actually come for coffee or come for great coffee. Most people go to coffee shops because they need a place to chill or a place to just kind of meet a friend and just or relax, right? So if you need to have like a good ambiance, that costs a lot of money. So that's why coffee shops actually generally cost a lot of money to open. It's not so much their equipment, it's actually the renovations to make the space so enjoyable that people are willing to kind of go in and sit there. While that is true, because I am looking into a budget coffee shop, I'm just going to call it budget coffee shop. Instead of kind of working on having a great ambience or whatever, I have to actually look towards the skill side. Now, if I were to go towards the skill side, it's still difficult because the number of people that want a great cup of coffee or like to learn coffee is very few, at least compared to, the 99% that just the rest of the public that drink like Starbucks or like Tim Hortons or whatever it is, right? And they're happy with it. So if you go down the route of like the skill side, you have to be so valuable that you can draw people in. And that is kind of what we're trying to do. We're trying to create a new destination location for people to visit if they're into coffee. Not that I'm super skilled or anything. I have my friend who's my partner. He's a Q grader himself. He knows what he's talking about. He's got all the sensory tests, everything. And with the $50,000, we're going to put maybe like 5 to 10 to just get like the water and then the grease trap and the sink going. And then we're going to just have like the ugliest counter possible and just load it with equipment. So it'll look like a studio more or less. And then we're just going to try and pick up like used couches off of like people's like they're throwing away kind of thing. Or buy secondhand or, buy a budget thing off eBay or whatever it is. So yeah, we're just trying to lower the cost as much as possible. And then on top of that, we're cheating a little bit because I have my roasters that I can put in there to kind of make it look a little bit better. And then I have to apply for gas ventilation, and that'll cost me maybe about $10,000. But if you don't do that, obviously you don't have to do that, but you could get yourself like a small roast, like a sample roaster. and you can go and buy green beans and just sample up like really, really nice coffees. And then you can kind of sell them at a premium to your clients. Now, the thing about this spot is we're planning to just do more of like an education side, because if you think about it, opening a coffee shop is kind of like opening like a nice school or whatever it is, right? You know, kids go there, people go there, whatever. But if you have a small budget, you can't afford to open a school, you got to open like a tutoring center, because tutoring centers have absolutely nothing. You might have a couple of blackboards, but you just erect a couple of walls and put doors on them. That's not going to cost you a lot of money, right? The most expensive thing is the teacher itself. So if you have a good teacher and then you're able to kind of like teach people, then you can draw like a certain crowd in at all times. So we're trying to do something on that end. We can throw like $5,000 to $8,000 on a small sample roaster. Then we have like, we're friends with a lot of like coffee shops and like coffee roasters, so we can just buy beans from them at the cost they purchased it at. And because we're able to do that, we can have a lot of different coffees to kind of sample, run cuppings, and run classes with. And then we can kind of just try to improve the overall understanding of coffee with the general public, and then also elevate and create a community for the actual coffee people. Now, if you're into coffee and things like that, I know you're more willing to kind of go out and join communities for coffee. There's not really any great space in Vancouver, at the very least, to kind of bring coffee people together. Most of them are probably at like a friend's house or something that loves coffee. So I'm trying to open up this new space where, we put in like just like a home espresso machine, a bunch of cups, some spoons steal off airplanes or like another restaurant. No, I'm just kidding. You buy them for cheap. And then we just do hold cupping sessions and do like tests. And then I will run a YouTube channel off of that. I mean, I already do, but that's why you're here. Thank you. But we'll probably have another more formal one, and then try to draw in like a community around that. And that's kind of what we're doing. We're trying to bring people in. So with a tight budget, I think this is the only route, because you can't afford to have equipment or anything. Yeah, I think in the next video I'll talk about like costs of a coffee shop, like a standard coffee shop, and then the margins. It's crazy. You can make so much money off coffee. It's just volume. That's why it's location. I'll tell you, it cost me like 30 to 40 cents Canadian to make a coffee. Every roaster can get coffees down. They could probably get it for cheaper than me. But yeah, I'll run you guys through the number, and see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye.